Hi, I'm May O'Hara, and this is Vindice, the electric violin, and today we're going to talk about sort of how you get started doing electric violin and what you need to know and stuff. Alright, so I'm not actually really going to play him today, I guess, but so how did I even get this thing happening? Why did I do this? So at least for me, I started off as a classically trained violinist. I went to school for classical violin. So because of that, I would recommend that you maybe start off on an acoustic violin, because the biggest difference between this guy and a nice fancy classical acoustic violin is that unless you're putting him through effects, he's not going to sound amazing, and I don't think you can really feel the tone in the way that you do with an acoustic instrument. So like when you're learning how to make an acoustic violin sound nice, you feel the vibrations, you can feel them all throughout the body. Electric violins are often called silent violins because they really are. This is him totally not plugged in or anything. They're quiet, and they're not made to sound beautiful because they're intended to be always plugged in and whatnot. You know, that's how it works. And there's a lot of nuance you get when you really hear the sound with the classical. I think it's better for learning how to play in tune. That you already know how to do acoustic violin, you have a basic idea, or you've at least played around with it a little bit. So what you need to get started is an electric violin, as you might have guessed, a 1/4-inch cable to do the input, and some kind of multi-effects pedal, or just pedals in general. If you're going to get separate pedals, I guess the three that are best to start off on would be some kind of distortion or overdrive or whatever, some reverb, and delay. But I like multi-effects pedals, and if you look at my video about gear, I use Guitar Rig, which is actually software based, so you can do a lot with it. And then from there you need another 1/4-inch cable to go from your pedals or whatnot to an amp or a sound system, or you could get headphones that have a 1/4-inch jack, or a converter from that 1/8 inch to 1/4-inch, blah blah blah. And that's all you really need to get started. Oh, and a bow for the violin, you know, bow. My bow's over yonder right now. But at least this violin came with a bow, and it's a very, very low quality bow. I don't recommend using it. If you're going to go out of your way to get a bow, then carbon fiber bows are actually probably a good idea. Basically, because they're made out of carbon fiber instead of wood, they're not nearly as breakable, and I mean, bows are long sticks. They are just asking to be broken, especially if you're going to be wild and jumping around on stage, or even just moving your instrument around. You know, I don't know. I have a carbon fiber bow that needs rehairing desperately, but yeah. Alright, so from there you've got all the stuff. So where do you go from there? For me, it all just started with experimenting for fun, which is probably where a lot of people start off. You know, it's just like, oh wow, it's a novelty item, I've got an electric violin. For me, I started off by writing sort of pseudo-electronic classical music. It was really lo-fi. Like, I recorded it in Audacity on like a really, really not professional microphone. But it was really just getting experience writing things and playing over them and trying to improvise. From there, I ended up joining a band when I came up for college, and I highly recommend. I'm not in a band now, and I'm definitely more interested in doing my own thing, but when you don't know what you're doing, it really helps. Especially like working with trained rock guitarists or things like that, is they're used to improvising and stuff, and in a way you might be sort of filling a similar role ultimately. At least for me, I pretty much do like guitar soloing, but on my violin. Um, yeah, so you can kind of sneak some tricks of the trade while you're in a band. Yes. And then when you get more confident, maybe you'll start playing your own music like I did. um, yeah, once you get more ambitious with what you're doing, or when you feel like, oh, I'm driven to do something, then look over your goals and think, what do I need to do to achieve those? Like for me, rather than interjecting classical violin into rock or electronic music, I want to sort of take the violin and see how I can make it this sort of new thing. I mean, there are definitely people that have done things, fun things with electric violin before me, obviously. But just, I feel like the violin could be, you know, the new electric guitar. It can do so much, and I don't know, it's a cool instrument, you know? Right, so this video is maybe not as lesson-ish as the others, but I hope it's still useful, and by all means, let me know what you want me to teach you, before I run out of ideas. I've got a couple left in here, and then, I don't know. Yeah, but you can also ask me questions. You can leave comments or inbox me, whatever makes you most comfortable. And if you are curious about me and my music and what I do, you can find me at meiohara.com, meiohara.com, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr, and you can find those links in box of description stuff. Yeah, thank you so much for watching.